Hello everyone, I'm Mr. Lopez and this is TGILGBTT, or thank God it's LGBT Tuesday. Now today we're going to talk about gender, the difference between gender and sex, and why we have non-binary gender. Okay, so to talk about gender, the first thing that we need to understand is that gender is not the same as sex. Gender is how a person identifies themselves as, while sex is all the biology, all the genitalia, all the hormones, all the chromosomes. So first we're going to talk about sex. The majority of sexes can be classified in what we call a binary system. Now, a binary system means a system of two things. The way to remember this is that a bicycle has two wheels. So in a binary system, in a binary sex system, we have male and female sex. But to understand sex better, we need to understand what we mean by calling it a majority. There's other sexes that we need to go in deeper and we need to dig in to understand them. Now, I'm not a scientist, so what I did is I found two examples that are easier to explain. And I think it's relevant to say right now that I'm used a lot of stereotypical colors and a lot of stereotypical aspects of sex and gender just to make the example clearer. I do not agree that blue should be male and pink is female, but for the purposes of this video, it's easier if we use them to make people understand and more aware of what sex is and gender issues. Okay, so in our first scenario, we have a woman that gets pregnant and has two eggs. Now, each of these eggs is fertilized, and one of them it's growing up to be a boy, and the other one is growing up to be a girl. Now, in the first weeks, it could happen, and in this case, it happens. Then one of the eggs absorbs the other one. The female egg absorbs the male egg, and that turns out into a person or a subject that grows with DNA for both male and female sexes. So this creates a new sex. Our second scenario has to do with chromosomes and hormones. Now, first we need to understand how chromosomes work. So in normal or average circumstances, we have an egg with eggs have two X's and sperms has X and Y chromosomes. Now, when the sperms fertilizes the egg, it can result into boys or girls. When it results into boys, boys will have an X chromosome and a Y chromosome. And when this person reaches puberty, it will start releasing a lot of testosterone that I illustrated here with a big T full of hulky muscles. And it will release all this testosterone as in a normal level. Now, in some cases, either the egg or the sperm will have an extra X chromosome. Now, when the egg is fertilized in these cases, it will turns out with a boy that has two X chromosomes and one Y chromosome. Now, because of the majority of X chromosome, the levels of testosterone that this person produces when they hit puberty is not as hulky as in a average case, and this turns into a new other type of sex. There's tons of different sexes, so it's not I just used these two examples because I thought they were easier to illustrate than other things, but there's tons of different sexes. Now, because we're lazy, we like things simple, we use a system that normally it's a binary system, just female and male, but as I said, that's just the majority. Now we've opened doors and we've added one more sex. We call that intersex, and we use it as an umbrella to all other sexes. But we said at the beginning, sex is not the same as gender. So you might be wondering, okay, so what about gender? So how does gender fit with all of this? Now, because we're lazy, we've decided that we have a male gender, female gender, And we have tons of other genders. We have people that are, because there's all of these different sexes scenarios that we cover, and there's plenty more. We have things like people that are agender, that are gender fluid. They have people that are trans. There's tons of different genders. Now, ideally, we would use all of these genders and we will represent them and show all of them. But because we're lazy, we use a system that includes one extra choice. So you can be male, female, or in the laziest possible way, you're non-binary. So we use the same umbrella that we use for intersex, and we use it to define gender. So it is not right, it is not broad, it doesn't show all the different aspects of gender, but it's at least a way to open communication and start talking about other genders. Now, as I said, I am not a scientist. I am just a teacher trying to explain in one simple way how sex and gender works and why it's important to have a non-binary system. Now, if we have a non-binary system, we might as well turn into, instead of having just two wheels, make the wheel of fortune and have all the different aspects and all the different I forgot the word. All the different gender definitions that make humanity more interesting. That's all for now. I'm Mr. Lopez. I hope that you found this useful or entertaining or anything. If you did, please share it so more people get the message and we have more people understanding why it's important to have non-binary gender as an option. That's all for now. This is TGILGBTT, or thank God it's LGBT Tuesday. Thanks for watching.